Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So in this video today, I am going to be putting my pride aside and I'm going to be reluctantly sharing some of the very embarrassing and pretty hilarious mistakes that I have made during this long process of learning the German language. I know that a lot of you can relate because many of you, I know for a fact, speak a second or a third or a fourth language. So before I get into that, I would like to take a moment to introduce you to today's sponsor, LingoPie. LingoPie is an intuitive, fun language learning tool that uses film and TV to help you learn new languages. It does this by immersing you in native content, which puts all the vocabulary and grammar into context. With LingoPie, you can choose from 8 languages in total, and for each of these languages you have instant access to local content in a wide variety of genres. I personally learn best when I am relaxed, when I am engaged in the learning material. And something that has really helped me with learning German, like conversational German in daily life, is watching movies. I watch the movies in German with English subtitles, but the problem with doing this, just say on Netflix, is that everything moves really fast. The dialogue, the storyline, it can just sometimes be too fast to process. What makes LingoPie unique is that it is specifically designed to teach you a foreign language. So first, it offers double subtitles, both in your native language and in the target language. So before you start the film, you will be shown a little overview of some of the keywords that you will be learning. To make the film easier to understand and keep up with, you can slow down the speed of the video to 4 different levels. It also has an awesome feature where every word or phrase you click on is then added to your list of visual flashcards. And once the show is over, you can review your new words and test yourself. LingoPie offers a subtitle auto loop tool that helps you practice the words by automatically replaying the sentence over and over. You're also able to practice the language by speaking, and you are tested on your accuracy. So if you think LingoPie is something you might be interested in checking out, I will leave a link for where you can do so in my description below. Also, if you use my link, you will have access to a 65% discount off your annual subscription. Okay guys, so let's get into some of the embarrassing, sometimes hilariously embarrassing mistakes that I have made during my German language learning journey. So in no particular order, I think the worst thing about this first one is that I have made this mistake many times without realizing. Oh my goodness. So in Germany, when you are congratulating somebody, just say they have had a baby, or they have become grandparents, or they have had a really amazing job promotion, or something along those lines, you will often say to them Glückwunsch, and that just means congratulations. But if you want it to be a little bit more enthusiastic, you will say
Herzlichen Glückwunsch.
That's what you're meant to say, but instead I would often say to people Herzlichen Glückwunsch. And in German, hässlich means ugly. I just could not hear the difference between hässlichen and herzlichen. And to me, it does sound pretty similar, but there is a huge difference. And so I was going around saying to everybody, ugly congratulations for the birth of your baby. Looking back now, I realize why I would get a bit of an unusual response when I'd say this. I would get a response like, oh, danke, like they weren't quite sure whether to thank you or not, and I'd be like, huh? Like I just didn't get it because I was congratulating them. And then one day my husband heard me saying this and he pulled me up on it and just said, no, you can't say that. I was mortified. I would be lying in bed at night just thinking about all of the times when I had wished somebody an ugly congratulations on the birth of their child or their marriage or something like that. I was so embarrassed, and I'm just hoping, I'm really hoping that these Germans understood and they knew what I was trying to say and they didn't think I was just being rude. I'm pretty sure, you know, they would know that I wasn't a native speaker and they would have figured that I didn't want to say that. Okay, so the next one, this is more funny than embarrassing, I would say. I don't think I made a fool of myself saying this, but this was a German word that I thought meant something else. But it is pretty classic. I have to share this one. There's a greeting that is pretty unique to Bavaria, and that is Servus. and this is used all the time. Actually, Feli from Germany, if you're not familiar with her channel, you need to check it out. She has a whole video on what this actually means, and she always starts her videos with Servus.
Servus can be used both as a greeting and a farewell, so it can be used for saying hello and goodbye.
I would often hear this when I was out at a cafe or a restaurant or something like that, and I thought that these people were demanding service. I was just thinking, oh my goodness, these people are so rude. That would never happen in New Zealand, just demanding service. And I had no idea that this was actually a greeting, and I just, for quite a while, I did not click. I was like, okay, this must be a German thing, just demanding service when you go into a restaurant. And it wasn't till a little bit later where I actually heard my husband saying Servus to one of his friends, and I asked him, what does that mean? And he said, oh, it's just like a greeting that we use here in this part of Germany. And then I was like, oh my goodness, they weren't being rude after all. They weren't demanding service. They were actually being super friendly. And I'm so pleased I didn't express my frustration over thinking that these people were demanding service. I must say this happened when I first moved to Germany and I was just starting out learning the German language. I quickly, caught on to some of the local slang or local phrases that they use here. But, that's what happens when you start out learning a language. You are just so uncool in that language. You'd have to start from scratch, and all of these little sayings you just don't pick up on, and you get confused. And, story of my life, I'm still not very cool in German. I'm getting there. I'm trying, but it's going to take a long time before I sound like a cool German speaker. Okay, so this next one was in my very early days of learning the German language. And this is a mistake that I thankfully only made once, and I will not be making this mistake again. This was when I finally built up enough courage to actually order my meal in German. If you've learned a foreign language, you will know that that's a really, really big step when you can go into a restaurant and actually order a meal for yourself or order a drink. I've talked about this a lot in my videos. In Germany, it's really, really common to drink water with bubbles, with gas, and in German it's called Sprudelwasser, sparkling water. So I vividly remember the waitress coming around and asking what I would like to drink, and I was panicking, thinking, oh my goodness, am I going to pull this off? And I asked for a glass of Spargelwasser. And in German, Spargel is asparagus, so obviously I thought I was saying Sprudelwasser, and I just couldn't remember what it was, and I thought I'd just kind of guess it. I remember the waitress laughing so hard when she heard this, and then she automatically switched over to English, because obviously she knew that my German wasn't very good. And then she said, oh, do you mean you would like some sparkling water, Sprudelwasser? And I was like, yes, that's what I want. What did I say? And she said, you asked for asparagus water. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay guys, this next one makes me want to curl over and die. I am so embarrassed, and right now it's funny to look back on, but at the time I was mortified. This was just so embarrassing. Okay, I had been at German language school for a couple of weeks, so I was actually out shopping with my mother-in-law, and at this point, we couldn't really speak to each other. I could say a few German phrases and I could understand a little bit of German, but we couldn't have a proper conversation. And I actually bumped into somebody that I knew from language school who couldn't speak English, and I was speaking to them in German, trying my very, very best. So I introduced my mother-in-law as my Schweinemutter. And Schwein in German means pig. So I was introducing my mother-in-law as my pig mother. So the word for mother-in-law in German is Schwiegermutter. And so a little bit like the whole asparagus thing, I was just trying to find the word. I thought that I knew it, but I wasn't quite sure, and I just gave it a guess, and I said Schweinemutter. It must have sounded so bad. Thankfully, my mother-in-law has a good sense of humor. If she didn't, that would have been horrible. That would have actually been horrible. Okay guys, last but not least, I don't know whether this is the most embarrassing out of all of them, but I think this is probably the most common embarrassing mistake that native English speakers make in German. And this has to do with temperature. So I made this mistake actually a couple of times, and the first time I was not corrected. The second time my husband corrected me. Thank goodness, because if he wasn't there, I would have continued to make this embarrassing, like really embarrassing mistake. So in the English language, on a really hot day, it's really common to say, oh, I'm hot, and no one thinks anything of it. Yeah, you're feeling hot. So I remember going to a grill party in Germany, a barbecue, with some of Rob's friends in the very early days when I first came to Germany, and it was a really hot day. It was summertime. I think it was around 30 degrees Celsius, something like that. So I remember trying so hard to speak a little bit of German and just to kind of appear like I was making an effort, and everyone was speaking to me in English, and I just wanted to feel like I was, you know, trying with my German. I vividly remember saying, "Whew, ich bin heiß," and everybody roared with laughter, including Rob, and I was so confused. I was like, why are they laughing? I did not understand what I had said wrong. And then Rob pulled me aside and he said to me, oh, you should probably say mir ist warm, which means, you know, I'm feeling warm, because in German, if you say I am hot, it's meant in kind of like a sexual way, like I'm feeling a little bit turned on. So that's what I was telling everybody, all of Rob's friends, I'm feeling a little bit turned on right now. It was so inappropriate. I was so embarrassed, and oh my gosh, like I felt really silly. So anyway, guys, those are just some of the many hilariously embarrassing mistakes that I have made during my learning German journey. I'm pretty sure that anybody who has ever learnt a foreign language has been in the position where they have made embarrassing mistakes while trying to speak that language. It is normal, it is part of the fun, just go with it, just laugh about it, have a sense of humour. That is how you have to deal with these situations, because it is inevitable. If you are learning a foreign language, you are going to be making mistakes, and it's all part of the learning process. Total respect to all of my fellow language learners out there, regardless of how well you speak a language. You are amazing and you are so, so brave. Also, I just wanted to remind you that if you are interested in checking out LingoPie, I will leave a link for where you can do so in my description below. If you use my link, you will also get access to a 65% discount off your annual subscription. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I know that so many of you who watch my videos are not actually subscribed, so if you would consider subscribing, that would mean so much to me. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!